thing is you have to create two assignments. One of them is the practical book which you have to fill. The practical book, all those who have purchased the book from the market, you might have got the practical book along with you, along with it. Okay, so you can fill it in that, then create a full PDF where first page, whatever you submit, students, the first page should contain all the necessary details. Like it should contain your name, your full name, class, section, name of the school, name of the subject, subject code, which file you are making, whether it is a practical file or whether it is a practical book assignment. Okay, now practical book assignment, you don't have to do it in a separate file, you have to do it in the same book itself. Okay, I had already given you, I had already sent you a PDF, a filled PDF of that. So that is given as answer keys, because you won't find the answer keys of practical book anywhere. So you can use that as answer keys. And those who don't have the book with you, you can download the ebook. You'll have to work hard a little. That is, you'll have to first extract individual pages, convert them into JPG, edit those pages to remove all answers, take a printout, and then write the answer. So this is a long method you have to go through in this. Okay, because I don't have that much of time to do that for you. If I had, I would have done it, but so I have already given you a detailed method, as you take one chapter at a time and you solve it like that, right? Or you can also do one thing, you can hide the answers and write the answers somewhere in the copy, somewhere. So in the beginning, the cover page should always contain all the details, right? And for which examination you are submitting, it's for half yearly examination. So that should be the first page of your PDF document, whichever you are creating for submission. So you will be sending that PDF document to me. And the second one is a practical file. Students, computer practical file is easily available in the market. So you can go to the market, purchase that, and you can easily write all your programs into that. Okay, one installment of programs I have already given you, and the second installment will be coming up. Okay, and by today you will be getting your blueprint also, that is your chapter wise mark distribution also, because the paper is full MCQ, hence you will be getting all MCQ questions only, just like you had been doing for your other tests. Okay, in between you will be having another mock test, and those who have not appeared for the first unit test, there would be a test for you people also. So please be prepared for that. So today we are going to see the second chapter. Yes, Shlo, ask any doubt you have, you can ask.
No, ma'am, it was my mistake.
Okay. Okay, the very first thing which I want to tell you is we are going to see the last chapter with respect to our half yearly exam, that is data handling. Now, talking about data handling, most of its concepts I have already covered in Python fundamentals chapter. Okay, that is what are the different data types. When you were studying about tokens, and within tokens, you studied about literals. You studied about the different types of literals. So they were what? They were all the different types of data types which you studied. Okay, so this is the chapter which we will be starting now. And most of the concepts, literals, that is your variables, types of variables, that is data types, your what is it? About your collection data types, right? Then operators, punctuators, you have already studied in the chapter Python fundamentals. Okay, in Python fundamentals, if you open the textbook, everything, just a short introduction was given, but I have explained in detail. That is, I have covered parts of majority of the parts of data handling chapter, right? So now I'm just going to take up the leftover parts of data handling chapter. Okay, so today we are going to discuss primarily about mutability and immutability. What is mutability and what is immutability? In Python, Some data types are mutable and some data types are immutable. Talking about mutability, students, mutability is a way in which data values cannot be, or wait a second, I will just write it. Variables cannot be changed in place, whereas mutability variables can be changed in place. So firstly, we will see which all data types are there. Then we will segregate, we'll categorize them into mutable and immutable types. So we start with the very first, that is data types. Just a second. We have two
Ma'am, your
important data.
screen is shared.
Oh, oh my God, 1 second. Just a second. I haven't shared my screen. See what happened. Okay, I'll start again. We are seeing the chapter 3, that is data handling. Okay. Most of its concepts we have already covered in the chapter, that is Python fundamentals, as I told you before. And we are going to discuss today what is mutability and immutability. Right, what is mutability and what is immutability? Now coming to the data types in Python, so we will see what are the data types. You have two basic categories. First of all, one is numeric and one is sequence. Right, you have numeric, you have sequences. Okay, 1 second, I'm getting confused in this. I will open the actual data type diagram. From there I'll explain. Yes, so everybody look over here, right? So we have the data types. They are divided into 4 different categories. Number 1, numbers, none, sequences, and mapping. In numbers, we already have, now you have studied all of these in the chapter Python fundamentals. Okay, it's just a revision. Now we are seeing them as data types. Earlier we studied them as types of literals, and now we will be seeing them as data types. Okay, now we have integer. It was not possible for me to draw all this over there, and besides I also got confused between because numbers sequences was okay, I got confused on this none and mappings, so I had to open this. Now numbers is divided into 3 parts: integer, floating point, and complex. So you already know about integer, floating point, and complex types. Integers, all the numbers, negative, whole numbers, positive whole numbers, and 0. And the range is unlimited as far as allowed by the virtual memory of your computer. Virtual memory is a memory of your computer which is taken, which is some part. Virtual memory is that part of your hard disk which is considered as RAM. Okay, it happens when your RAM starts running out of space. When your RAM is overloaded with many multiple applications and it runs out of space, so your operating system, it allocates some part of your hard disk, that is your magnetic disk. Okay, after RAM, hard disk is the fastest running device after RAM. Okay, so some part of your hard disk will be considered as what? Virtual memory. So when your computer is, when your system starts taking up virtual memory, you will experience a lot of slowdowns. Performance will be reduced. Okay, lot of everything would run very slowly. Why? Because ultimately this virtual memory is not RAM. It is just used virtually as RAM, as false RAM. Okay, so that is why you will start experiencing some slowdowns on your PC. So as far as virtual memory is there, you will be, yes, Orijit, virtual memory, that's what I'm explaining. Virtual memory is what? It is a part of your hard disk. And hard disk is what? It is always lower as compared to RAM. It's a secondary storage device. So its storage speed, its speed, data transfer speed will always be less as compared to RAM. So it is used, this virtual memory is only used, system starts using virtual memory only when RAM runs out of space. There is no more RAM on your system. Okay, because the entire RAM is full, it is filled with applications and you are trying to access more applications. So your operating system has no other option, but it will start taking memory from RAM. It will start storing certain data on this part, that is virtual memory. And that is the time when your system will, you please don't interrupt in between. If you have any question, you can ask me at the end. Okay, Ankit Rajput is asking, he has raised his hand for the very first time. Yes, Ankit Rajput.
Yes, ma'am. If as hard disk is SSD type, then it
Hmm.
will be faster than.
Obviously, because SSD is 10,000 times faster than the traditional SATA hard disks which you use on your computer. Okay. And that is the reason why they are much costlier. If you purchase a computer with an SSD drive, it is much costlier as compared to the one with the SATA hard disk. But it will still be slower than RAM, because RAM is what? It is a volatile memory and it is made, it has a different circuitry. Understood? SSD has a different circuitry almost matching that of RAM. It would be much faster as compared to your magnetic hard disk, but it will be still slower as compared to RAM, but that difference will be reduced a lot. So in that case, what will happen? That your system slowdown will be there, but it won't be as visible as in traditional computers. But modern day computers, we normally go for our RAM, which is 4 GB or 8 GB RAM, which is more than enough. I don't think we are able to play games also. We are able to work on heavy graphics applications also without experiencing any system slowdown, until and unless you overload your memory with different applications. Okay, is it clear? I think same was the question of Orijit also.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying, that integers, they have unlimited range. That is, you can store integers which is any digit long. कितना भी लंबा number ले लो, it will support it till your virtual memory doesn't run out. That is, RAM runs out, then your system starts using virtual memory. Virtual memory जब तक खत्म नहीं होता तब तक आप values ले सकते हो, but we normally don't use such values until and unless you are working on a scientific application which requires processing of large amount of numeric value. Same is with floating point also, unlimited values, and it supports up to 15 digits of precision. 15 digits after decimal point. So that is known as 15 digits of precision. After the decimal point, you can take up to 15 digits. Complex, I had already explained, complex number is a combination of real part and imaginary part. So detailed discussion of each of these data types already we have done, right? So please watch the offline lectures for the literal data types in Python fundamentals to understand more about this. Okay, it is already there on my YouTube channel, so visit there. Go to class 11 computer science playlist and you will find all the videos over there. Next is none. So none is a special data type which signifies absence of a valid number, absence of a valid value, absence of a valid value in the memory. And this also I have explained, that is null or empty value. And it is represented by capital N-O-N-E. If you write A equals none, it means right now A is an empty label which is not pointing to any specific valid memory location. Next is sequences. Sequences have three types: string, tuple, and list. What are strings? They are a group of characters. They are a continuous array of characters which are stored in sequence and in consecutive memory locations like this. I write hello world. So each memory location will be having an ordinal number which is known as, can anyone tell me this is known as what? These numbers are known as? Orijit, can you tell me what are these numbers known as?
I know, I just don't remember.
Positive indices, negative indices.
Very good, wonderful, Sneha. Positive indices and negative indices. See,
Ma'am, it's Aliza.
okay, it's Aliza. Your voice is, I confused your voice. Okay, very good, Aliza. So, positive indices and negative indices. Indices is the plural form of index. Index is singular, indices is plural. Okay, it is also known as subscript. And you can give any name, like I'm giving a name, a string. So it's up to me what name I'll give, because this is an identifier which is user defined. And you can see all the characters are stored in consecutive memory locations, that is adjacent memory locations. Got it? So they are stored in adjacent memory locations, and positive indices run from left to right and negative indices run from right to left. Got it? So this is how your string is represented in the memory. Next is tuples. Now what are tuples? Tuples are also, they are sequences, and there is a better word, that is collections. Why collections? Because tuples are collections of data belonging to different data types. So collection is a collection of data belonging to different data types. Like for example, I write record equals So I have written something. So this is a name of a student. This is his age, marks he got, and what is the subject. So you can see that this is what type, data string type. This is string type. This is integer, and this is float. So it is a collection of data belonging to different data types separated by a comma. And included within parentheses. That is a pair of round brackets. Okay, pair of round brackets. See, round brackets will always be different from square brackets, and they will always be different from curly braces. This is always named as parenthesis. This is named as square brackets only. And this is named as curly braces. Okay, please remember the difference. The round parenthesis is for tuples. You can write a memory aid. This is for tuples, square brackets is for list, and curly braces is for dictionary. The memory aid, okay. Tuples will always be enclosed within round brackets. List will always be enclosed within square brackets. Dictionary will always be enclosed within curly braces. Got it? So this is a collection, that is a tuple. Now there is a difference between tuples and lists that we will study when we are going to actually start with mutability and immutability. Next is a list. List is also the same collection of data belonging to different data types. Only thing, the same record, I can enclose it within square brackets. It will become a list. So the same thing, that is different data belonging to different data types but enclosed within square brackets. So this is a list. This is a list and this is a tuple. We already have 2 dedicated chapters for list and tuples and 1 dedicated chapter for dictionary. That is 1 dedicated chapter each for each of these. Okay, next is dictionary, that is mappings. It comes under the data type, that is mapping. Why mapping? Because dictionary stores everything in the form of key value pairs. I'll write here key name So you can see this is a record which I have stored and I'm naming this as emp1. So here you can see there are colon in between. This colon is separating the key from the value. So this e name is the key and this s valen is the value for this key, that is e name. Salary is the key and 55,000 is the value for the key. DPT is the key and sales is the value for the key. So everything is stored in the form of key value pairs in a dictionary. So we saw all the data types, right? So this is what your Python is made up of. It is made up of these different data types, and whatever variables you create, they are pointing to either one of these. Now the next thing is, next and very important concept for Python, entire Python is dependent on this concept. So we are going to see that. Mutability and immutability. Now, what is mutability and immutability? So watch it very carefully. First of all, I will mark those variables. I will mark those data types which are mutable. I'm going to rub everything over here. Till then, you can just make a note of a mental note in your mind. You can just take a look at these various data types for some time. So these are all the data types in Python. Now we will mark which data types are mutable and immutable, and then we will see them in detail. Integer is immutable, so I am going to write IM over here. Floating point, immutable. Complex, immutable. Boolean, immutable. None, of course, there is nothing for none, so we are leaving it. String is immutable. Tuple is immutable. List is mutable. Dictionary is mutable. Please make a note of this. If you have your textbooks with you right now, please make a note there. Otherwise, you can draw it in the copy. Yes, sets are also there, right? So we will be seeing sets a little later. There is another type of sequences, that is sets. Okay, and sets are mutable as far as I know. This I will confirm and let you know. Okay, so for the time being, you can just write sets are mutable. I'll just check it. Set is mutable. Yes, sets are mutable. Please write this down quickly. Just a second, students. Students, there is an important instruction. Please listen very carefully. Anytime the system may shut down because there is some work going to begin at my area, and this electricity work is going to be carried on till evening. Okay, so anytime the system might shut down. Okay, so please, whatever will be left out, the class, remaining part of the class, it's almost 8:30, so 15 minutes, that part will be rescheduled at an other time. Okay, I will let you know what that time will be. Please bear with me because these problems are unavoidable. We cannot help these problems. Okay, so whatever time is left, you just draw this diagram.
জিজ্ঞেস করলাম ওখানে সকাল থেকে দেখছিলাম ছিল এই অভিষেক জিজ্ঞেস করছিল অভিষেককে বলে অভিষেক কোনো ওখানে ট্রান্সফার যাবে এবার লোক দুটো যাচ্ছিল আমি তো জিজ্ঞেস করলাম পাওয়ার জায়গায় বলে হয়ে গেল সারাদিন মোবাইলে চার্জ দিয়ে রাখ
Okay. So whatever time we have, let's try to make the most of it. So we come to mutability and immutability. So first I'm going to teach you about immutability. Now in Python, unlike other programming languages, data is not changed in place for some data types. For example, integer, if I write a equals 50, it means somewhere in the memory 50 is there. and A is pointing to that 50. Got it? So if I write something, it would contain values like this: 49, here it would be 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and so on. Values are stored in consecutive memory locations, and each memory address is separated by a factor of 16 bytes, because integer takes up how much? 16 bytes in Python. And so on. Okay, so A is pointing to 50. Next time when you write A equals 52, so A will stop pointing to 50 and it will start pointing to 52. Got it? So this is how it works. So A points right now, earlier it was pointing to 50, now it is pointing to 52. Its memory address has changed entirely. To show this, I'm going to run one code, one line of code in the interactive mode. Okay, so we are here and I'm going to write here A equals 50, and we have a function in Python named as ID. This ID function will give you the memory address where the value is stored in the memory. So I'm going to type IDA. You can see this is the value, a very long address you can see, depending upon the memory of the computer. In your computer, you might get a very small value, but in my computer, I have 8 GB of RAM. That makes so much of bytes. Okay, if you convert 8 GB into bytes, you'll get a lot, right? So that is why I'm getting a very long memory address over here. So now if I write A equals 52 and I just print ID of A, you can see that this ID has changed by a factor of how many? 64 bytes. Because just after this, that is 632, 51 would be there. And then, so I'm going to just write here A equals 51 and check the ID. Yes, 632. So 650 is there, 632, 51 is there, and then it is 64. So in my computer, it is storing each value. There is a jump factor by 32 bytes. So it depends. Standard difference will be 16 bytes, but then depending upon the memory of your computer also. So here every value is being stored by a factor of 32 bytes. So here it is 600, here it is 632, here it is 664. Then add 32 to 664, you will get 53 also. The value will be 53. So you don't have to check this because this is the internal matter of the operating system. Operating system manages this internally. What you have to remember is when you change the value, when you assign a new value to a variable, that is a new immutable value to a variable, its memory location change. That is, it is pointing to some other memory location. Earlier, when it was pointing to 50, this was its address. Then it started pointing to 52. This was the address, and then it started pointing to 51. This is the address. Got it? So this is how Python stores immutable data. Same case is with floating point also, that is float type also. And because complex is also a combination of integer and float, that is usually in complex plus bj instead of storing as a plus bi. Normally in mathematics you store it like this, that is iota. So this iota is replaced by a j over here. Okay, so this is your real part and this is your imaginary part, right? So you can store any complex number of this form. Right? So over here, what you can see is each of these, the complex number is formed out of what? Floating point values. Hence, these values are what? They are immutable. Hence, complex number is also, it becomes immutable data type. Okay, which all data types are mutable and immutable? I have already told you, and same is the case with strings also. So let's see strings. So when you are storing something like I am writing here, a string equals hello world or hello. So in the memory itself, right? And I'm going to remove these parts. So a string right now is pointing to this string object. This whole thing is a string object. So a string is right now pointing to this string object. When you write a string equals world, so it would be pointing to some other memory object. So it would be pointing to this memory object over here. Okay. So this is what is your string object. Understood? So the previous association will be broken. I'll just show it to you. So over here, you can also do it yourself. If I write a string equals hello, and I print the ID of a string. So this is the memory address you can see. Now I type a string equals world. You don't have to worry about what data it is returning. All you have to worry about is whether the data being returned, whether this number being returned is the same or not. So you can see over here that it is not the same. Understood? So this is how your data is being returned. So this is what is known as immutable data types. Same is with tuples also. If you take a tuple called numbers and you have given some value to it. So these values would be stored just in the same way as string values are stored. That is in consecutive memory locations. And its name will be numbers. That is, numbers will be pointing to this tuple object. Where this tuple object will contain individual elements which will be again having indices, both positive and negative. Same way with strings also, it will have both positive and negative indices. So this is a tuple object. So over here, all these values are there. If you try to write something like this, if I write number 2 equals 6, this operation is not allowed because you cannot change any value within the tuple object. If you want to change a tuple, you can again reassign a tuple. You can altogether change the value. You can do this, but you cannot do this. You cannot change individual values. Same with strings also. You cannot change individual characters within the string. That is, if I write a string 3 equals I, then this is not allowed. Okay. Okay. Let me just explain this indices to you. First of all, how I am accessing individual elements. Suppose I have a string, and I have given this value to it. I'll take the attendance. We're able to complete this class, thank God. Maybe I'll be able to complete one more class. So I have a string equals technology. So I am going to write it like this. So this is a string object which is pointing to this whole string object. If I want to access the value L, how will I access? I will write print a string within square brackets. I'm going to specify the index or subscript. Index or subscript of that character. What is the index of L? It is 6. But actually this is which position? It is the 7th position. Why? Because positioning always starts from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the 7th position. But index starts from 0. Hence it would be the last index will always be 1 less than the position. Position is always, please write this in your copy, it will always be 1 more than your index. Position will always be index plus 1. Please note it down somewhere in your copy. So if I say I want the 4th character, how will you write it? Tell me. 4th character in a string, how will I write it? Anybody? Yes.
Ma'am, print the brackets open, a string, square brackets open, 3.
3.
Ma'am, you want the 4th one?
Yes, yes, it is the 3rd one, correct one. So this is the 4th character. So this will print what? It will print H. And 6 will print what? L. Now, when I say 6, 6 is what? It is the index. But if I want the character there, I will have to type it like this. A string 6. This will give me the character. That is L. If I want to access Y, so what should I write in the print statement? I want to access Y.
Can I?
Yes, state. It's open to anyone.
A string.
A string.
Brackets open. 9. Brackets close.
Yes, very good. So this will print what? Y. Now, so you understood how to access each location. So this printing is allowed. If you want to print it, okay. If you want to access it or read the value, that is allowed. But if you try to write, yes.
Ma'am, it must be 10 now.
Why 10, dear? Because 10 is the position and we never access individual elements from string object using position. We access it using index. The index is 9 because it starts from 0. 0 से start हुआ है ना, तो यहाँ से position count करो 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 position. This is the 10th position, but index is 9. Why? Because the first value is 0.
Okay, ma'am.
Got it? Now, if I try to, I tell you that replace this 0 by Z. So I'll be writing a string. Where is this? It's not 0, it is O. So this O is at which index location? 5. And I'll be writing Z over here. Python will not allow this assignment. Python will not allow individual character assignment within a string. If you want to change this, if you are very much determined to make it a Z, then you have to write assignment statement like this. A string equals तो आपको ऐसे लिखना पड़ेगा. Got it? You have to write it like this. So what will happen in your memory somewhere? Now, right now, a string was pointing to this. Somewhere in the memory, this technology would be created. A string would start pointing to that, and this association will be broken. Understood? So this is what is immutable data types. In your next class, we will be discussing mutable data types, right? So thank God this class won't be rescheduled now because we have completed it successfully. Any time electricity might go off in my area. That's why. Okay, so I'm ending the class on time today, students. Thank you everybody for being here. Please do your